Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's September 28th, and right now we're looking at the combination of Doppler radars here across the Pacific Northwest. This green line here kind of marks where that thunderstorm activity should be to the right of that, across some maybe the North Puget Sound area up towards southwest BC. And this will continue on into the day across the North Cascades, across the higher terrain of British Columbia, maybe northeast Washington, extreme north Idaho Panhandle, and northwest Montana. So we're going to continue to add to some of this precipitation here, especially across some of the Cascades and the higher terrain here. And we're still getting a little bit of some convergence zone activity here going on across the central and north Puget Sound. Now, taking a look here at the infrared satellite imagery, you can see that onshore flow, and this is that bulk of cold air. It's going to settle down over some of California, the Intermountain West, and start to bring some wraparound moisture over the next several days back up into Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. Some snow for the higher elevations, pretty chilly upper level low settling down there. And then we've got a system that's going to move through early next week, and then we'll turn our eyes to the extent as some of the models are showing some huge ridging developing here along the west coast of North America. Could bring some nice days, but way off into fantasy land, there's some additional storm systems. It's starting to roll back in towards the northwest portion of the USA here. We'll look at all that detail here in a moment. Looking at this nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below if you want to save 10% off. Very fun to watch this station as we get these storms rolling in. Look at SeaTac yesterday. Again, that's 5 straight days with over 1/10 of an inch of precip here. We're at 3.3. We're over double the normal amount for September, so much needed, and we will take it. Thank you very much. Probably adding a little bit more today as well. And some areas around the sound even got more twilliam that, and we'll show you that here in a moment. You can see the cocoa rods. Look at a lot of these areas up over 3 inches for the Puget Sound. Coastal range of Oregon did quite nicely. Southwest Oregon, Willamette Valley generally over an inch, inch and a half or so. And we got some increased amounts here across some of the Puget Sound convergence zone yesterday also. You can also see the rain shadowing to the northeast of the Olympic Mountains there across some of the San Juans, Whidbey Island, and just Port Townsend area squim out there as well. Now, looking at yesterday, look at this. Some of these areas were getting 2-3 inches of rain in that convergence zone yesterday. And, you know, they got some rain before that, too. So some of these areas up over 5 inches of rain. So that even could put you into some of that landslide category here. A lot of precip in a short amount of time. Not really a big concern right now, but it is something just to kind of keep in the back of your mind if you're on some of the hillsides out there. And you can clearly see the rain shadowing effect during the day yesterday across some of the Columbia Basin out there. This is looking at that, the threshold for landslides. If you go to the right of that line, you're definitely in the high territory, but you can see if you were in that 5-inch range here over the last day or two, you would definitely be above that red line here. But I mean, there's nothing much you can do about it other than just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. This was 31 miles per hour. My house yesterday broke this big, about 2-foot diameter tree here, and it threw it across the trail. If anybody had been standing there, they would have been killed. Quite a big tree. And if we scroll through here, you can kind of see it brought down quite a bit of stuff here. You can see my drone there. I went up and took a look at that rot damage on that tree. I like to document that stuff in and around my area here. But yeah, interesting stuff. I walked through here about a half an hour after it happened. So yeah, you want to stay out of these parks even when it just starts getting blustery. Now, looking at some of the winds here, look at some of Astoria. I got some comments here that it got really crazy out there. There were power outages. You can see 68 miles per hour in the extreme northwest tip of Oregon there. You had some 40s, some 50s out there as well. Some of the higher terrain got some nice gusts also through southwest Washington. And I think some places towards Olympia were gusting 40. Look down the Oregon coastline here too as well. I think, what is this? We're talking about Newport right here, 55 miles per hour. So yeah, pretty interesting. I don't know if the 65 is legit here as well. I-5 at Rice Hill, milepost 147.2, but some of the higher terrain gusting into the mid-40s as well. Look at Crystal Mountain. It is that time of year. We are switching to a snowy scene across some of the very highest terrain. Now, this is up for Wyoming here. You see October 1 through 4, north central Idaho, western Montana here, colder fall temperatures, snow above 5,000 feet. Watch out across the backcountry there. It can kind of sneak up on you, especially when you're coming from western Washington. We might be, not too bad here the next couple of days, but if you're driving east, you might think things are going to be the same over there. But when you start getting out towards the Rockies and east of the mountain ranges there, you can get into some of this chillier air and some of this snow for the higher terrain. Now, this is looking at the composite reflectivity. You see the onshore flow and the continued shower activity as we go through the day to day, moving across the area. Thunderstorm threat, mainly northern Washington up into BC. And then you'll see this upper level low kind of settle down across Oregon, California, Nevada, and you can see this wraparound moisture coming back up. This is where this ends about Saturday afternoon, but it's going to be bringing this wraparound moisture. You could be getting a higher elevation snowfall in places like Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and some of Nevada and Utah down there as well. Now, looking at lightning flash density potential for the day-to-day, you can see what that thunderstorm threat exists here. This is the 5-minute lightning flash density, and that should be coming to a general end as we go through the day-to-day and evening. And then you can see that some of this kick up here across the southern Oregon Cascades, Northern California here, and maybe even a few embedded lightning strikes here as this upper level low is going to be spinning over the area of the Intermountain West. Here we go with 500 millibar temperatures here. This is the European last night's run, and you can see this big bowling ball set up down here across the west coast, and that's going to be bringing that wraparound moisture. But after that passes by, we're going to start to get a bit nicer here, some ridging starting to build into the Pacific Northwest, and we're going to start to warm up while we're still dealing with that upper level low across the Intermountain West. This is looking at 925 millibar wind speed, heights about 2,500 feet. You can see the onshore flow again, some convergent zone signature here as we go through the day to day. And then as this low drops down to the south, check it out, we even get some offshore wind starting to come in here. So we're probably going to clear out a little bit here and maybe get a bit nicer through this weekend for some areas, western Washington, Oregon, and some of southwest BC before the next system starts to roll into the Pacific Northwest. And now we'll take a look at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. There goes the trough. Check out this ridge nosing into our area by the time we get into Saturday. And this would be that system here kind of swinging by as we go through the day Monday that should bring some precipitation. Not a big rainmaker, but we'll look at that in more detail, especially tomorrow. And then look at this monster ridge building here on yesterday afternoon's European run. Look at this massive ridge across the North America. And then those systems start to roll in towards the coastline. It is October, and they don't tend to hang out for long. It doesn't take much to start bringing these systems back in at this time of year. Also, this forecast is going to be pretty fickle here, so we'll be watching it closely day by day, and we can nail down details as we get closer. This is the GFS. You can see this onshore flow, and then the low drops down across the Intermountain West. Ridge noses in. Weak system slides by on the day Monday. And the GFS also showing that monster ridge setting up here across much of the Northwest. And then it also starts to bring in some of these systems a little bit here as we go way off into fantasy land, but just something to watch for now. And we'll watch that ridge and that troughing after that. We'll see if that actually plays out. Seattle, Tacoma, check it out. We could get nice here as we go towards the end of next week as well if that ridging does set up. This is the European as of yesterday afternoon. This is SeaTac Airport. And you can see, not bad temperatures showing up here. And if that ridging comes in, we could get some nice days. It's getting close to that time of year, though. When you start getting ridging setting up over your area, you can start to worry about fog in some of the valley areas, and it can get quite dense this time of year. Here's Seattle, Tacoma. This is the system ongoing today. The onshore flow is shower activity. Then the weak system slides through here as we go through Monday night, and then we're going to get that ridging to build, and then you can see kind of the sign for some additional systems as we go way out towards October 11th, 12th, 13th timeframe here. So we're just looking off into fantasy land at this point. We'll be working out those details as we go. And this is the European. Something similar here to what I just showed you with the GFS. Tillamook, you can see some juicier signals showing up here in some of these ensemble runs here as we go through Monday night into Tuesday morning as well. We'll watch that system closer tomorrow. Boise, you can see this wraparound moisture coming here, a chilly upper level low. And again, across the higher terrain, it's going to feel quite cool. A little taste of winter here coming from much of the Intermountain West, including Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and some of the Idaho Panhandle up there also. And British Columbia getting some decent snowfall out of the system as we speak right now even. Helena Regional Airport, check it out. Some interesting precipitation showing up here, over half an inch in a 24-hour period. West Yellowstone, check it out. Some of the snowflakes already flying there as we go on in through early October. Now here we are looking at the European. This is kind of looking at Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana. Here is British Columbia. You can see that our system that we're dealing with now in the upper level low dropping across the Intermountain West, spreading this moisture back up over the region. There goes our next system here, which we'll watch this one closely, but it's not a big precipitation maker, as you can see. And then we're restarting the loop there. But yeah, that's what we'll be watching here over the next couple of days. Now looking at total snow, 10-to-1 ratio here on the European. You can see some of the snow flying already across the Rockies, Alberta, on through British Columbia, the higher terrain here, Intermountain West, low pressure system spinning across the area here. And you can see some of the snowfall coming for Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana over the next few days. This is looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly, so you can see our system coming right now. And then we drop this low pressure system across the Gulf, out of the Gulf of Alaska, down towards the Intermountain West. And you can see some of these temperatures, some of these 25 degrees plus below normal for this time of year. This is the surface temperatures. This is not a loft here, folks. So you can see a pretty chilly upper level low setting up across a lot of the Intermountain West. And as we go far enough out in towards the next week, though, we could potentially be warming up, as I showed you with some of that ridging coming here. So interesting stuff to be watching here. We are getting into October. You can get foggy, you can get stormy, you can even get some nice days. If you saw my Twitter yesterday, I did show that. In fact, let's go ahead and look at that if we can. Let's go to previous month, and we'll go to temp graphs page. We'll go to 2022, and we'll go to October here. So check this out. Look at these temperatures. I mean, look at these high temperatures during the early portion of October last year. And on October 16th, we peaked at an amazing 88 degrees. So you can get nice and even warm weather here across some of the Pacific Northwest. With that ridging showing up, we got to kind of pay attention to that here, because you can see that we were quite warm last year here across Pacific Northwest with very little rainfall through about October 19th, only a hundredth of an inch to be exact. And we finished the month below normal there that last year. So anyway, I thought I'd show you guys that. Hope you guys are liking these videos. We're going to check out that week system sliding through as we go through the early portion of next week as well. We'll continue to nail down details of the fantasy forecast as we go. Yeah, click like, leave some comments below, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.